My name is Emma Lunder, and I'll be talking about my after school program attendance problem. Using Polia's first principle, which is understanding the problem, I really had to think first of all, what was the problem that I needed to be answered? And then I also need to be able to say the problem in my own words, and that's what I'm about to explain. The problem that I chose was a professional problem. I am the coordinator of an after school program, which runs seasonally throughout the year. Each season, new clubs are created. This program has about 150 students signing up for about 12 clubs. Each club meets once a week between Monday and Thursday, and I have countless students participating. There are probably about 7 to 9 sessions for each club depending on the day that the club falls. Students need to be signed in each day to the club. Students come to the lobby of our school after they're dismissed, and then our current procedure for signing in is setting up a clipboard with a pencil and a paper and a sign-in sheet that the leaders of the individual clubs check off as students show up. We also use the sign-in sheet for signing out of school at the end of the day. All students are picked up by cars. 5 to 10 minutes before club ends, we walk along the line of cars because we need to check off whose cars are in line, and then we walk back to the lobby of the school and get those students and walk them to their cars. Especially because they are so young, they need to be put in their cars directly by an adult. The problem that exists right now is that there's too much paper involved in this process. Each sign-in and sign-out sheet is its own page. Then, when trying to see the cars in a quick amount of time, flipping through the papers and checking if the student slows us down, this adds to our problem of time. The length of the driveway is so long that by the time I walk back with the names that have been checked off, the parents have been waiting for a few minutes and there is an overflow of traffic. The students have to walk all the way down to their cars rather than quickly being able to get in their car near the lobby. Also, in order for us to prevent wasting too much paper, we do not want to print out 2 sheets per club, therefore leaving the club leaders with no list of kids while they're in session. My hope is to use computers to make this process go digital and paperless. Polia's second principle, which is devise a plan, has me trying to figure out a process that allows me to really get to the bottom of what I need. And the process I went through to do this was a mix of brainstorming and then trying it out and fixing what I had come up with. I brainstormed in 2 different ways, which was fixing the program without computers and then fixing it with. I did this in order to not have the computer be there for no reason. I tried to devise a solution that matched my needs and then after applied it to a computer program, making sure I kept the solutions I had originally needed. From what you can see here, I began by thinking about problems that did not necessarily mean that I had to go digital. So I went through all the possible things that could quickly solve the problems I had, and I'll read through a few. So first I said putting the first 5 kids into the cars so that the lines keep moving. However, I ran into a problem then that some parents come early and also some clubs get out at different times. So this could potentially delay the process as the parents would have to go all the way around campus to get to the back of the line again. So then I was thinking, have one teacher to manage the kids, one at the end of the line and one in between with walking students to the cars. Radios would allow people at the end of the line to call kids from the first stop. This is great, however, it doesn't solve the paper problem. Then, to solve the paper problem, on top of having the radios, I was thinking we should laminate the sheets so we aren't wasting all this paper. However, this, in conjunction with the previous solution, doesn't truly solve the problem with the delayed check-in and check-out. So I thought, okay, maybe I'll have one master list. And this way, the leaders just report to me, and I have it all on one paper. And at the end, I have it all on one paper with the kids signing out. I would put all of the kids in alphabetical order to sign out so that would be quick. But then this would add paper because I would be making it this giant grid to fit all the names. So then I was thinking, put all of the names on the grid using sheets in alphabetical order, do both check in and check out, and hang one in the lobby. And it doesn't really organize the children. So my final thought for this part was to put all the names on the grid using sheets in alphabetical order and in club order to do both check-in and check-out, and have one up in the main lobby for leaders to check off as kids come in. This saves paper, however, it seems less organized. And then for the physical space, the leader of the club is moving away from the kids so that there's a problem of functionality. So I really was thinking it's time to go digital because this will really save a lot of my problems with paper. So my thought process started with all the Google apps because that's the program that my school uses. So I was thinking everybody had a Google Doc that they sign in and sign out of when their kids are picked up. However, then it's not documented who was there and who left when we have to go back through those sheets in a few weeks' time. So then I thought, okay, they have this Google Doc and then they download it as a PDF and keep it in a file digitally. Great. Then I thought, everyone has a Google Sheet on their iPad or laptop for sign in and sign out. And we do the same with the PDF. This way, it's even a little more organized, and even people who are subbing for the club can come in and do this. So I kept going and I said, we'll organize in alphabetical order by club on the Google Sheet. They do sign in, and the director will do sign outs, and the leaders will know who should be walking out to cars already. We also had this big push for Google Forms, and I thought, using Google Forms, like a survey for checking in and out of clubs, would really be helpful because it's concrete data that, a person could do this with. So the questions were who checked in and who checked out in my head. This would make it difficult for the checkout process, though, because the person flipping through the names called the cars has to flip between 8 different forms, which also pushes out the data into a spreadsheet, which is helpful to store. But again, I'm having to switch through all these forms to get the names, and this would be slower. So then I thought using Google Forms like a survey, but just for check-in, which would eliminate the problem in the previous solution, and then for a sign out, having one master list. I kept going with these ideas, and I really don't want to bore you with reading them all. However, I came to the conclusion that I would use Google Forms for checking in the students because we have that concrete data. But then, using just Google Docs, I would have a list of alphabetical order with all the kids' names for checkout. And as the people who are leading the clubs see the people's names pop up that are being crossed off for checkout, they can send their kids out to me and I can put them in their cars. This really encompassed my solution because it helped me think, okay, my problem was I need to focus on time. This is going to save time because I'm quickly checking off and it will update live to the people who are at the first stop, which is the lobby. Also, I'm saving paper because I'm using one master checkout form, and in the beginning they have individualized check-ins, which is totally fine. So really for principle 2 for Polia, what worked for me was that I was able to make an orderly list by kind of spitballing ideas off of each other. Then I thought, how am I going to solve the problem with paper? And how am I going to solve the problem with time and then time together? And I looked for patterns in both my digital and non-digital solutions, which allowed me to then eliminate solutions that weren't working for my problem and come up with the proper plan. So principle 3, which is carrying out the plan. At this point, I had created QR codes to go with the Google Forms for the check-in. I realized that after the forms, there would be some problem with checkout, as the forms are submitted during check-in. At this time, I had only had a checkbox that said all students checked in or checked out. Then I created a Google Sheet for each day of the week with all of the children's names in it under their day and specific club. And I made QR codes to go with those days. The plan was to mark whose car was here by using an X next to the student's name, then having the instructor send the students down the line for me to put them in their cars. This would alleviate the delay in the problem statement, which was that I would get to the car types and then have to walk all the way back down to the sidewalk to communicate with the instructor and the children who had to go back to the end of the line for their car. So the fourth principle is looking back. And I think that by doing this, I really needed to break this into a table with what worked and what didn't. Polia's fourth principle is looking back. And I started with what didn't work. Check out with the Google Forms did not work because it seemed like it had no purpose. It was also messy having to switch between Google Forms and Google Sheets at the end of the day because we need Google Sheets because that helps with the dismissal plan, but Google Forms allows us to keep the data of which kids were picked up. So then I thought, I wonder if Sheets would suffice for the paperwork for checking out. Then I thought, what did work here? Sign in was fun, interactive, and made the process so much quicker, which solves the problem of spending way too much time. Also, the only fee that was involved was cutting out the QR codes for the process. This solved the paper problem. So, checkout with Google Sheets was much quicker, which again solved the time problem. I think that the plan moving forward will be to finesse the Google Form sheet so that checkout is also included with the individual names and while being connected to the form. I would need to add in a date option rather than leaving that up to the computer. I think this would also involve another QR code for checking it out, as it would be a completely different form. Another solution to what I have found in Phase 4 is to just do everything through Google Sheets, having a sign in and sign out that everyone can edit, and exporting it to our Drive account where we hold all of the information about the forms would probably be the most efficient and would solve both my problems. Thank you for listening.